Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm not really sure what he's doing, but happy Friday. You're listening and or watching PWNCAST. This is episode 188. We are in patch 7.2.3. Tonight we're going to be talking about everything Antorus. Just kidding. We do have some other news, not a whole lot of other news. But we do have a lot of things to talk about. Guys, there's going to be a lot of info that's going to be given on just various random parts today, so I'm going to need your full attention and focus because we do have some important things to note, especially gear-related. We also are in a new PvP season, and we have pet battle things and lore time with Rem. We have that and much, much more, so make sure you guys stay right here.
You have crossed into the world of the dead in search of answers.
Amongst the Azeroth elite, there is a group that defies convention. A group that stands in the face of trolls and doesn't flinch. A group that strives on unity, trust, and unwavering resolve. A group that eats tacos. For the players, by the players, we bring you. She can start a revolt with a Chaos Bolt, Bell, the PWNCAST Vanguard. Snap back and get faster for the Pet Battle Grandmaster, Gemma Banks. With holy might as strong as his ancient knowledge, Remedies, the Argent Loremaster. We bow to no one. We are Legion. We are PWNCAST.
I love their faces whenever, like, it's time, because these guys have no earthly idea how long the intro is, when it's going to be ready. So I feel like we always catch them at super candid moments. And I'm afraid to unmute because Rem is like 20 shades of pink. Guys, what is so funny?
We're practicing tongue twisters, and sometimes when you do that, the wrong word comes out. So that's
yeah. Flashback to when the show was live and I said things that you just can't take back.
Return the flag.
Yeah, capture the flag even. It was a bad time. Guys, welcome back. I'm very, very happy that you guys are with me this week. Look at my two professional podcasters here. For those of you that are listening, hopefully you find the audio quality to be a lot better. Both of these guys have professional mics and are stepping up their podcast game, and it's making me super duper duper proud. So I just wanted to make sure I shouted out all their hard work and me annoying them with, can you put your mic here, and can you move it here, and can you fix this, and can you fix that? Because I'm a nag, guys. It just is what it is. I'm female. It's what we do. If women say they don't nag, they're liars, because I caught myself nagging this morning at my husband for not doing something, and I'm like, oh, I turned into that. Gross. Anyway, I did
I thought you were saying hag. Never mind. Okay.
Wow, your mother. Just kidding. I love your mom. Don't tell her I said that. I did bring the Riders of Rohan with me. I did bring the monk who's very sorry for trying to change Remedies into something he's not. Gemma Banks, why?
Well, because I just kept like beating him down, and he is my PvP buddy, you know, on the show, and I've PvP'd with previous people on the show, but I kept just saying how I want him to be a melee, right? I'd rather do threes with a melee for arena or whatever, but he's good just the way he is. I'll learn to do arena with a shadow priest.
Well, haven't you seen most of the arenas? I am melee. They're always on me, so.
Oh yeah, you should hear him squeal actually, because he's always the kill target, which is nice because they leave me alone. But you're good just the way you are, Rem.
I'm the same because I'm a warlock, so.
But you don't arena, so.
Yeah, but in a battleground where I'm cushioned with 9 other players, or depending on the size of the battleground, whatever. I was thinking RPGs, but where I'm cushioned by tons of players, I'm even in like Isle of Conquest, I'm still the freaking target because I'm a warlock. I get it. I'm so amazing and powerful that you just have to shut my chaos bolts down. Like, I get it, guys.
No free casting for you.
Yeah, you don't have to keep. And it's funny because I do hide in the bush and free cast. I have no shame, guys. I have zero shame.
Well, and with Rem, the Shadow Priest is one of the classes and partners that I know the least, kind of, so I'm always hesitant to paralyze and CC a target because it removes all his dots. Actually, flashback to HOTS as well, same thing. So yeah.
I did also bring the priest who said he wishes there was a PvP chest to fight over, but won't fight over the chest. Remedies?
When the award is not great enough, there is no cause for me to put in my time into the Dark Moon chest. So
That's what he's referring to.
So what you're saying is there wasn't enough in it for you.
exactly. Why put effort into buying the box when you can get a nice car? Yeah,
It's an achievement, and then there's a meta.
I don't care about achievement hunting now.
Did you
so
say why put into buying the box when you can get a nice car? That's
I don't. I thought I was going somewhere with it, but
I expected something a lot more intelligent because like you're super smart, and that's just not what I got right now. I'm a little disappointed. It's okay.
I'm disappointed in myself too. It's okay.
It's gonna be just fine. So the weekly quest is going to be time walking dungeons for next week. So for next Tuesday, which Tuesday is the 5th. So for the 5th, it's going to be the time walking dungeon, and I think the time walking is Pandaland, isn't it? The next time walking.
I don't think so, because I remember getting the pets that I missed from Pandaland. Not last one, the one prior to that. So
I feel like the WoW in-game calendar told me that Pandaland was coming up next, but that could be.
It could be.
I could be completely wrong because sometimes the calendar is not your friend.
And I'm more wrong than you, so for me to be confident about it is not. It's not a good sign.
Actually, I'm really confused because the in-game calendar said the time walking dungeon event ends, and I don't know, guys.
The new show days got us all messed up.
I don't even know if I'm even accurate. I feel like I looked in the thing and that's what it was. But there is no PvP brawl next week. Right now, as you guys are watching this whole weekend, you guys will have the ability to do the Arathi Blizzard, which that's actually on our agenda. I'm excited because we're going to take the husband through that for the first time.
Nice.
Except he's like, I hate Arathi Basin. And I'm like, oh, really? Because you Overwatch. Really, your opinion doesn't matter to me because you play Overwatch.
Well, I mean, got to push the payload.
Right.
Push on the payload.
No. Dark Moon Fair begins December 3rd. Get your top hats, get your carousel riding, get your whatever that weird shit is Jim keeps trying to get us to do. Is that the chest situation?
Yeah, every 3 hours.
Yeah.
12, 3, 6, 9.
You have to fight over it? Is it like...
Yeah, it's like a free-for-all. So like it's the caged area right before you, like on the right as you're walking towards the stage where the concert is, and you just kind of click in and the chest spawns and you fight for it. And I would heal you guys quite well.
So you can do it in a group?
Yeah, you should. Or it's
and then
recommended.
Everybody gets to loot what's in the chest?
No.
So no, only one person can loot. So, but because I don't care about looting the chest, I would just be free healing. So if the 3 of us were in a group, we could phase in or go in, kill or CC whoever, and then one of you 2 could try to loot it.
So it's like fighting over the Girabashi stuff.
Yeah, it's exactly the same
That's
concept.
why I brought it up.
And the best part is when you're sitting there trying to get the chest, I can leave group, CC you, and then kill you.
Interesting. That sounds like something you would do, actually, now that I think about that. It does sound like something you would do.
Sure, but I wouldn't kill you.
The new PvP season has begun. It's Legion Season 6. Thinking maybe... I don't really know how many seasons we have left in this expansion, but we're getting close to the end there.
I would think at least one more.
Oh, for sure. If not 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the seasons... I need to go do my math on the seasons and see for sure. But we should have several left.
I'm sure the listeners are tired of hearing me and Rem say, we're going to get our 100 wins.
Well, you're undefeated right now because you haven't...
Anymore.
Oh, you're not undefeated?
Not anymore, no.
Interesting. So, Antorus is out. I didn't... Yeah, Antorus, the Burning Throne, is out. I didn't get to go in with the guild on Tuesday because it was a non-raid night, and the guild did a full clear. So I'm going to be in Pug City this weekend to get my normal clear, which is fine. I'm not bitter.
We're doing it again Sunday.
Why? You guys already did a full clear. Why would you guys...
Because people missed, so we're
I'm the only one that missed. There doesn't make sense to force the raid team to do a full clear just for one person. I mean, I know Soda missed, but Soda was... I don't think it matters too much to Soda because he works a lot. But
that's the vibe I got, though, that the group was going in.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect the entire team to do a full clear just for my benefit. I'm mediocre DPS at best, and I'm a half-ass raider, so I mean, I try. When I try, I do really well when I'm actually giving the effort. There is some things to be said for that, but
maybe with a full clear, they might do heroic bosses as well, though.
So the rule is I think I gave her two full normal clears is the only contingency.
Maybe that's why they're going to clear it again this week.
Right. So actually, they're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They just know that they want to do heroic on Monday. But the only reason being is we're a very different team than we were back then. But we would always go into heroic for the first couple of bosses for gear purposes, and we would struggle with the last boss, that entire tier. Obviously, we've gotten way better since then, but I feel like it's important for the team to at least get 2 normal clears before they go into heroic. And really, with content and the way that we are with World of Warcraft, we eat up this content like crazy. And I like to just properly pace it, if nothing else, to just help the guild just enjoy it a little bit better versus just trying to rush to get through it. You know, and then we're stuck doing the same raid for whatever length of time. But this is the last raid, so it's not that big of a deal. If anything, they can get through it and move on. Honestly, I just want to see the cinematics. I've avoided watching any of the ones that have been posted. And much to Rem's dismay, we will not be discussing the cinematics until after the last swing of LFR, which is in January. So those of you that listen and watch, you are going to be spoiler free in that regard. However, when the last swing of LFR is open, that next week we are going to be talking about the cinematics, because there's huge implications there, and I haven't even seen them, but unfortunately people put stuff in titles of stuff on the internet. Even though they put a spoiler tag, you still see the shit in titles. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. So we will talk about that in great detail. Of course, you're free to slide into Rem's DMs on Twitter and conversate back and forth with him about, you know, whatever lore stuff.
Lori, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
It doesn't have to be lore. Hit him up.
Yeah, get his digits, guys. I'm probably the only one that calls him.
Remedy is 1262.
I'm probably the only one that calls him.
You and my mom.
Probably.
I really don't use my phone for actual phone
And he
calls.
knows, like, I don't really like talking on the phone. If I have my earbuds, I don't mind, but I don't like talking on the phone. If I text you, that is not an invitation to call me. Let's continue this conversation via text, right? Yeah, if I text you, that doesn't mean, oh, she's right by her phone, let me call her. That means we can communicate through text, because I like to be able to multitask, not have to have the phone right here. Not to mention my kids are fucking banshees during the day. When they're home from school, it's a whole different ballgame. I have to go outside to talk on the phone. But Rem knows if I call him, some shit's either going down, has went down, or is about to go down. Like, that's the only time him and I really talk on the phone, unless he's driving down here. I don't.
The one feature that I got from you, I know it's very basic, but I use it all the time now, is the Facebook recording instead of typing out a message.
It's so much easier.
I use it all the time now.
Because Siri hates me and often makes me look stupid, especially when I'm away from my computer and I'm replying to work chat, because we use Slack chat. If I don't double check what Siri has put, it's been quite disastrous on occasion, where I've had to apologize to leadership because I've said something that was changed to something that changed the meaning of things in the sentence. And I'm
so
like,
in Siri's defense, sometimes it happens, but you can do it yourself pretty well.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the worst, especially when I'm like going a million miles a minute, if I'm excited about something or if I'm angry. If I'm angry, I have lost
Game over.
Like, there's no, you have to really get out a decipher code to figure out what I'm saying, because it's bad. Anyway.
Like the other day, if I can message you.
Or like today. Oh, I know. He said one word to me and he triggered a freaking stage 5 meltdown via messenger. Anyway, I was bitter about something. I'm getting to be not bitter about it anymore, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. So let's talk about Antorus and gear. There's, well, actually, before we do that, let's talk about upgrading legendaries. So last week I had stated to make sure that you pick up the quest that is it's the blacksmith, I think, in Dalaran. You don't actually have to pick up the quest to begin looting the awakening essences. Those actually, when you do, you guys have probably already noticed it, but if you guys have not logged in to check it out and haven't even bothered doing emissaries, when you do your emissaries, you get them from the emissary chest, you get them from the weeklies, and you get them from, you know, your runs, your dungeons, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to have that quest. You can start looting them right away. It'll pop up in your currency tab, and then you can go to the quest giver and just get the quest and turn it in and upgrade. And basically, if you have a legendary to upgrade, you don't have to pick up that quest. The system just knows and will allow you to do it. So it's not like if you upgrade all your legendaries, you're going to continuously loot those. That's not the way that it's going to work. So you don't have to do that, but make sure, especially this far in, your main probably has almost all of your legendaries. You may not use all of them, but definitely update or upgrade the ones that you use, especially if you're swapping depending on fights, because I know a lot of high-end raiders swap their legendaries depending on what the fights are.
I don't even have Cepheus, and that's my best in slot, so...
That was like my first legendary in 4 tunes. I'm like, yay! I mean, it's not terrible. It's just... It's good for some people, but not for me.
You.
Right, yeah. There was some hot fixes that I wanted to talk about before we talk about Antorus stuff, and really it was in regards to Shadow Priests. Now, I knew that this was coming because they had mentioned that they were doing some tuning for Shadow Priests, but some of these changes, I'm going to have to rely on Rem a little bit, but I did want to highlight those of you who play Shadow Priests, or maybe you quit playing for whatever reason or whatever the case may be, but the hotfixes that happened on the 28th, so Void Eruption no longer deals a separate damage event for each of your Shadow Word, Pain, or Vampiric Touch on each target. Instead, it now deals single damage event to all targets that have either your Shadow Word, Pain, or Vampiric Touch. Void Eruption damage was increased by 700%. I don't know if that's normal.
Would
Ram?
you care to elaborate, Remedies?
Yeah, that seemed like a huge damage increase, and I don't know what that means, because I'm not really sure what Void Eruption is.
So that kind of balances itself out. I didn't know about these, but anyway, so Void Eruption is when you build up your Insanity to 75 or 100, depending on the talent, you cast Void Eruption, and it sends you into the Void form. Mm-hmm. And so typically, if you have dots on like seven targets, all that damage is like amplified, because the Void Eruption goes to each of those, and so it does has a pretty large increase on damage. But I don't know why they increased it by 700%.
That's why I said that seems like an
great.
Extremely large number. Shadow Crash cooldown reduced to 20 seconds was 30. Insanity generation increased to 20 was 15. And missile speed increased by 60%. Mind Seer damage increased by 50%, which obviously that's passive, I'm assuming. Heart of the Void, which is the legendary, right? That's a legendary?
Yeah. I believe it's the chest.
Increases Void Eruption's damage by 75% was 300%, and heals you for 25% was 40. I don't know why they nerfed that. This is the compensation for the Void Eruption buff. The overall effect is mostly neutral. Mm-hmm. Shadow Word Pain, damage reduced by 4%. Vampiric Touch, damage reduced by 4%. And then this is because of the whatever. They did some PvP tuning as well on the 28th. I don't really know. They did some Warlock stuff.
Oh.
We're going to not talk about that because it's a little annoying. Whatever. Yeah, they just kind of tinkered around, did a little bit of class balancing. I don't know if it's for the bad or for the good if you guys PvP, but I mean, shit's broken anyway, so it's really going to be all right. It's not that big of a deal. We're nearing the end of the expansion. Hopefully we'll be seeing some new things with PvP come next year, and with future talks about that, so hopefully it won't be too big of a deal. So with Antorus being open, one of the things that I seen come across my my visuals this week, the elevator boss, guys. I mean, we've been dealing with this elevator boss for quite some time, and I myself, if you guys can believe that me with all my extensive knowledge, and I'm such an OP player, that I would ever die to the elevator boss. It happens more than it should. But that's, you know.
Everyone falls to the elevator boss at least one time.
I seem to have lost the link that I had for it, and I'm kind of a little frustrated about that. Because that link is not the actually correct link. But I guess apparently what happens is this is before one of the boss fights, if you don't move when the elevator, so it's different than normal, like if you just fall down or whatever, but if you don't move when the elevator hits the bottom of the platform, so if you jump off or whatever, like the elevator will actually like instead
of sitting underneath the elevator like you typically would and wait till it falls down and then you jump up onto it, it would fall on you and kill you. So it's actual physics into the elevator.
And I don't know what caused them to do that, but I think it's pretty funny. It's right.
They probably messed something up in the collision.
It's right before the Antoran High Command. So once, basically, yeah, if you're at the bottom of the elevator's path, you have to move or you'll be crushed, which I think makes that pretty interesting. And apparently, there's also a smush noise when it crushes people.
That's funny.
I might die just so that I could see this in action, to be perfectly honest. Like, I might sacrifice myself to the gods to
That's what we'll say, yeah.
Hear the smush sound. No, I'm totally going to do it. And then, yeah. That's amazing, though. I love that. Now, remember, guys, we talked about the Violet Spellwing, which is essentially Khadgar's mount, right? That violet bird is basically, is that not Khadgar's mount? Or it's mimicked after Khadgar's mount?
It's the one that you use when the Broken Shore scenario and all that, yeah.
So we talked about this many, many moons ago, but this is a reward from the Blood of the Titan quest, which I had talked about. We didn't know a whole lot about it then. You get this item that starts... what's the item you get? I thought I wrote it down. You get an item that starts the quest from killing Argus the Unmaker on Heroic. So on Heroic, you have to kill Argus. Everyone in the raid will get the same item for the quest when you kill him on Heroic. It works basically the same way as the Moose in WOD. You take the Blood of the Unmaker, which is what you loot. That starts the quest. You take that to Dadgar and Dalaran, and he gives you the Kirin Tor Summoning Crystal, which teaches you the mount, which is kind of nice. It's nice that it's not mythic. I appreciate that it's on Heroic. I think we could probably expect to see, you know, the friendship Violet Spellwing thing going around.
Yeah, for sure.
Towards the end. I'll definitely see if my raid team would be interested in helping acquire those items for people at a way, way later date, at least before it's no longer available. But
3-4 weeks from now.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's really nice that they do stuff like that. We didn't really have anything for clearing this last tier in Tomb of Sargeras. There was no, on Heroic rather. Outside of getting AOTC, there wasn't really anything like that everybody received beneficial-wise, like a mount or something like that. So.
Well, this lines up because this is the last raid, and we got the Moose in the last raid, so.
You're right. I didn't even actually make that connection until you just said that. This is why, guys.
You're hired.
This is why.
Sometimes.
Also, I had mentioned very briefly, because I didn't know a whole lot about it back then, the Paragon of Argus achievement. This can actually now be completed. This actually rewards the very highly coveted title, the Lightbringer. This consists of achievements in Argus' Zone, the Seat of the Triumphant, which is the dungeon, and Antorus, the Burning Throne. I kind of muddled through a little bit of it because it's quite extensive, but I think the guide that I read said about 3 to 4 hours to complete. I think we've already done most of this because you have to go to like Broken Shore and make sure you do some of that precursor stuff. And then on Antorus, you have to do some of that, you know, it's a lot of zone quests. I think we've probably done maybe the first half of that stuff. Some of it is like looting. I think you have to loot like so many chests. You have to find so many chests on Antorus. It's you know, it's a pretty beastly achievement. And, you have to do, for the raid portion, you can do this on any difficulty, which is really nice. You, if you don't raid, you can do it in LFR, so you can wait. You can do all the other stuff except for that and then do that stuff. There's a great guide that I will link in the description that is on Wowhead. Wowhead did not write the guide. It's a player that wrote the guide, and it's an excellent guide. Yeah, he broke down all the quests that you need to have and an easy way to get it. So hopefully you guys can go check that out. I mean, the Lightbringer title's pretty awesome, especially Alliance side. You know, because we are the light. Well, I'm a warlock, so I'm not the light, but.
And you can
like the Horde Breaker that I have.
I would name change my paladin to Uther for that for sure.
You wouldn't be the only one that's so not creative, Rem.
She's got you there for real.
That would be like me making a warlock and naming him Gul'dan.
That's a good idea. No,
but I mean, it's different because we didn't have that title before. But I mean, I didn't say I was creative. I just said I would do it because Uther is my favorite paladin. Okay.
I know.
Triggered.
I always thought the name Uther was super weird because it sounded like it was trying to be Luther. It always annoyed me for some reason.
So is Belle.
Wow.
What are you trying to be, a Disney princess?
Wow. Interesting. Remedies, huh? Every emo kid in America has had that name at some point. I could give them your original name that only a few people know.
Don't do it. I don't know what it is, but
So what emo kid has the name Remedies?
I don't know. Everybody Remedies is very common.
Healing. Hello?
No.
I think you should be more offended she called you emo.
Well, I mean,
He actually is quite emo. Most people don't know that because you wouldn't know that to have a conversation with him, but he is quite emo.
I didn't know
There
that.
are times when he doesn't get in Zoom or anything, and I know he's just being a bum laying in bed watching Netflix, or I know he's sitting at his computer and just is being in his emo day where he doesn't want to talk to people. And I only know that because I just know him very well.
I only know him as a party animal from my BlizzCon experience.
I just get a message, hey, Senka, you dead?
Yeah, I'm like, hi, are you dead? That's pretty much the way that we communicate. Now, the maximum Titan forging cap will be 985 for non-legendary gear.
It's crazy.
I like that they kind of capped that, to make sure. But, I mean, the item level, we're into the thousands. But we talked about the Pantheon trinkets from Antorus, and I didn't want to discuss them until they were relevant. I mentioned them on the show, but I felt like giving a breakdown of what these do and what they are really doesn't make a whole lot of sense until, we are in that content. That's when it really, really matters. So there's a lot of information here. These trinkets are on push personal loot, which push personal loot means it just automatically shows up into your bag. It doesn't matter if your raid team is on master loot. You're not getting any of them trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
Like, master looter is not going to loot them no matter what it is on push personal loot. Once you defeat Argus, random members of the raid will automatically acquire one or both of their specs, epic or legendary Pantheon trinket. But I don't know if it happens the same raid or if it happens the next week. I tried, like, a lot of people got it the first week, but then somebody commented and said, but you have to wait for the following week. Not really sure what any of that meant. A lot of that stuff was kind of confusing.
Well, I don't know about what they're saying, but for instance, in our raid, Blood Prism got his. So, I mean, we didn't have to wait.
Nice.
Oh, so it was first week. I think waiting might be for Amanthal's vision or Amanthal's vision. Amanthal's vision, which we'll talk about that in a second because I have more information on that. When you kill Argus for the first time, you should make sure that your loot specialization is set to your desired spec too. So if you're going in a second time, or if you get one that time and you need one for your off spec, just make sure you change your specialization so that you can get it on the next kill, because it'll be, obviously, that's an obvious thing to say, but a lot of people don't remember to do that. Because since it drops off Argus, you can change it for just that fight. If you're trying to, like if you're a tank and you have a DPS or whatever the case may be, just make sure that you're doing that smart so that way you can get it for both.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about...
about the upgrading it, yeah?
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
Do you see my notes? Do you see the notes? I'm going to just look at my notes.
Oh, because it's a separate bullet.
I have to break it up that way, otherwise I get lost. So I have to break it up in a way that I can explain it. Now, there is a total of, what do we have? There's a total of 6 trinkets, but only 5 of them. There's 6 trinkets, but one of those trinkets is legendary. But they're all Pantheon trinkets. There's one for the tank, which is Agrimar's Conviction. Eonar's Compassion, which is the healer, Golganeth's Vitality, which is agility, Norgannon's Prowess, which is intellect, and Khaz'goroth's Courage, which is strength. How did I do on pronouncing any of those things?
Pretty good.
I practiced earlier. I want you guys to know. When I was refining the show notes, and I was moving them over from the work laptop and putting them in the Google Doc, I was practicing saying those out loud because I didn't want to sound like a fucking moron. And then, of course, there's Amanthal's Vision. Now, the thing that we talked about in regards to Amanthal's Vision, which this trinket is a legendary, 1,000 item level when it drops. this does not follow the 2 legendary rule. This legendary is it's a Path of the Titans unique equipped in the tooltip, whereas our other legendaries are Legion legendaries. So you can have this specific trinket equipped with 2 other legendaries, which is quite scary, to be perfectly honest. And this legendary is obviously an exclusive drop from Argus the Unmaker, as all the other trinkets are exclusive from Argus the Unmaker. So you don't really have to worry about... I can see a lot of raid teams just farming the last boss. Like, that, to me, is what I feel like is going to be the thing. A Paladin, I think, was the first one to get that trinket specifically, which is pretty cool. But, I mean, these trinkets... Their tooltips are pretty heavy. Hopefully you guys have done your research on that one, but they're, you know, it's pretty heavy as far as what it offers,
weight,
really.
Or...
Well,
That was a showstopper right there.
Now, I should also tell you guys that while we are not talking about PTR today, because I need to get into PTR tomorrow, I'm doing a video on what's going on in PTR. Rem was trying to throw me off pre-show by talking about all this PTR stuff. I'm like, look, can we focus on today's stuff? Next week,
okay? Sorry.
Next week when I've had a chance to go in there, we'll talk about PTR. I have to do research for the video anyway, and we'll kind of see what all that's about, but a lot of really good stuff. Now, what I want to tell you guys is that's the bulk of what I wanted to talk about for Antorus, which was, oh, I didn't talk about the upgrade because Rem threw me off.
It's in your bullets, okay?
It's in my bullets. So the Pantheon's Blessing is the item that's going to be used to upgrade these trinkets. It does drop from Argus the Unmaker, which of course is the last boss. Now, this will give those trinkets, those Pantheon trinkets, so only those, not any other gear that drops, and not the legendary either. It'll give those Pantheon trinkets a 5 item level upgrade for each one you have, up to 1,000. So... that's, I mean,
no?
If you've got 2 legendaries that are 1,000, you manage to get Amonthul's Vision, that's 1,000, and then you upgrade your Pantheon trinket, that's 1,000. What does that even mean, Basil? Like, I don't even know what that kind of power looks like, but it's enough for
you, Basil.
It's enough for me to want to raid. You can loot the Pantheon's Blessing only once per week, so once per week when you kill Argus. Even when you do it on various difficulties. So if you do it on normal and then you try to do it on heroic, it's going to be like, nah, fuck you. You're not getting it. So, yeah, pretty cool, actually. Now, a lot of people are probably going, wow, that's a lot of really high-level stuff being given at this raid. Now, I suppose you're probably wondering why. Would you like me to tell you why?
Yeah.
Yes, Belle, please
answer our questions.
It's the last raid of this expansion, guys. It is the final raid of this expansion. They are gearing us up for something. I don't know what it is, but it could be very, very bad. Now, I know a lot of you have pretty much been convinced that we're going to be sitting another year before the expansion.
You better bring protection.
I'm telling you, while it might not be until August, the expansion, the pre-event stuff is going to start very soon. You already knew that anyway. Now, I want to tell you that if you guys have been watching what's been put out in PTR, we'll talk about that another time, but they've pulled Allied Races models. They're pulling mounts for these Allied Races. We'll talk about that. But this is telling you that what Belle has been saying is correct. We are going to be doing pre-expansion stuff very, very soon. Like, very soon. Very, very, very soon. So we have 7.3.5, which just hit PTR. So we're looking at what? Second week of January for 7.3.5. We're talking like March for pre-expansion stuff. If the numbers are aligning and if that's the model that they're following, that's what we're talking about. Now, while pre-expansion is not the expansion, it
does give us all the background stuff.
Pretty much the hype. Because you can't just go from the expansion to the expansion. You have to have that middle story that bridges that gap. Which I wanted to get into some stuff that me and Rem were talking about earlier. Damn it, I don't know why I went down this PTR road. We're going to save that stuff for next week.
Can't even blame
Are you sure? It sounds like you want to talk
I know,
about
because we were just talking about stuff with the Void. And I'm just impressed with myself that I'm remembering moments and stories and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll talk about that stuff next week. But the only reason I'm telling you guys that is not so I can say Belle's right. It's because I want to prepare you. I think everybody is expecting to be sitting with a content drought, and I don't think we're going to be having that, guys. I think.
Yeah, wait, Belle's right about what?
Why do I even bother? Because people think that we're like a year away from the expansion, and people are scared that we're
saying people, but like a year from when? Like, are you saying August or a year from
like
now?
In Dragon Soul and the Siege of Orgrimmar, we sat in that raid for a year, bashing
right
the wall.
I'm just wondering who the people are. Right?
Everybody.
She's always referencing these people.
Anybody,
we the people, Jim.
The people that comment on the show, the people that tweet to me, and the people that comment on the method videos. They're always saying, I don't think we're going to get at this. I don't think we're going to get at that. They always do. I've been hearing this for months. Now, while we're not getting the expansion in March, we are going to be getting pretty good stuff. And I'm confident that it's going to be enough to keep us in where we need to be. It's not going to be raid content. It might be, though. We don't know. What if they have like a secret? I don't know what weird shit Blizzard does, but it's not going to be.
There's plenty of content that they have planned for.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be fine. I just don't want anybody to feel like, God, we're going to be sitting in this bullshit for a year. I don't think Blizzard's going. I would be really surprised if Blizzard did that, because they've learned their lesson, I hope, and anytime,
they got their shit together for this.
And anytime somebody mentions Siege of Orgrimmar, like, I just...
And Dragon Soul is worse.
Like, physically, it hurts me to even mention that. So just be looking for things, and we'll talk about next week some of the stuff that me and Rem were talking about. That way we can clue Jim in, because I don't know, we might have talked about it in the podcast chat, I'm not sure. But lots of really good stuff in the works. If you are a raider, I need you to raid so you can watch these cinematics so that Rem can talk about them. Because if I force him to wait any longer than the last wing of LFR, he is probably going to set me on fire. He just really is excited about talking about this stuff. So I'm abiding by our rule, which we wait until LFR is out so those people that are not on a raid team can go in and experience the cinematic. If you see these cinematics, don't spoil them for yourselves, guys. Wait until you can go in there and see them. I didn't do that, and like the stuff that we seen in Tomb of Sargeras, I got to see that stuff firsthand instead of watching anything spoiler related, and I really enjoyed that I got to do that, because nothing is better than watching a cinematic like in-game with your... telling people in your comms to shut the fuck up so you can hear.
That was fucking softy yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much. But
everyone was quiet during the video. You could tell when everyone else ended because they started to talk.
Yeah, I just automatically mute whatever is going on for that. Now, is the pet battle bonus events going on right now, right?
It's current. It's live.
Tell us about the pet battle bonus event.
Like officially for a segment, or just like...
Yeah, you're good. We covered that a lot quicker than I thought we were going to, but I was a lot more efficient thanks to my bullet points. And the fact that I reread all of the things I prepared today about 3 times to make sure that I gathered the information that I needed to get. So,
well, you did say all the names of the trinkets quite well, so practice makes perfect. Good job. But yes, Belle, the pet battle bonus event is now my favorite event. Not everyone's, but mine. So you're obviously getting 200% increased. Wait. Yeah, you're getting 200% extra pet battle experience gain when you're leveling your pets. So you know, I've talked about the pet battle bonus event many times. You know, we've got new listeners, we've got existing listeners, but it's very clear, you know, you get a ton of extra experience. This is the time to power up your pets. And there's, you know, I've talked about power leveling your alts through dailies, right? Which is actually not a bad idea, but you get 1 day out of the week potentially to get to battle Squirt in your pet battle garrison. Now, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I haven't really done that and I wanted to experience. So actually we've got a little video showing how easy it is and how quick it is. Actually, it was unbelievable how quick it was. I can't believe I haven't been doing this all the time, but you just need a couple specific pets and you're going to just rip through the experience like crazy. So your pet's going to go from level 1 to 19 in less than 2 minutes. So you need a couple specific pets. Now in the video, I'm using the Fjord Fish. I always mess up the name. The Warg Pup. I got a power version, and then my trusty Blighthawk, right? So it's very simple. You start off with the wolf, and you use Dazzling Dance to increase your speed. You use Howl to increase the damage. You use Bite a couple times, and you kill the first pet, right? And then you're going to use Howl again. You're going to die, and then you bring in your Blighthawk and use Ghostly Bite, and it's going to just kill Tyrael, like just one shot it. Super powerful. And then the Treasure Goblin comes in. You're going to sub out your Blighthawk. You're going to sub in your level 1 pet or any level pet. It doesn't really matter. And then you're going to bring in the Blighthawk again, and you're going to use Infected Claw once, Ghostly Bite. That's the end of the pet battle. It's extremely easy, and I just can't believe I wasn't doing this before. And again, this Garrison Pet Battle Daily doesn't fall every event, or you only have one day. So you're all listening to this, and it was yesterday. So maybe what I'll do, it's very hard to plan, or like, you know, they are in somewhat of an order. So maybe for next Pet Battle bonus event, I'll help all the listeners that want to take advantage of this do that. Thank you. Neil actually posted in our Pet Battle group that it was today, so I was able to record the quick clip and show it. Man, I was getting frustrated with the dimensions. I'm sure if you watched that video, you could see that it wasn't all perfect, clean cut. I had my graphics just all terrible, and it was a frustrating time. But if you don't have the pets that I mentioned, you can use... there's a few of them to use, actually. Where did they go? My list here. Those are the ones you want to use. There we go. So if you don't have the Warg Pup, you can use an Arctic Fox. The key thing to remember is you have to have a minimum attack power of 277 and a minimum speed of 235. It's just required, but you know, both of the ones I just mentioned. I like the Warg Pup because it just hits the hardest, or hits harder than the Arctic Fox kit, which is just a wolf, or a fox, excuse me. And then the second pet, you know, I use the Blighthawk. Of course, there's a couple other options. We've got the Ghostly Skull, the Ghastly Kid, and the Grotesque. And they have to have a minimum speed of 222. I like the Blighthawk just because I've used it in a number of different scenarios. I've hyped it up as far as, you know, a pet that's just unique and very cool in your collection. So if you don't have those pets, go do that. You've got a lot more time from now until the Pet Battle bonus event. And it's too good. Like, I was leveling, like, literally 2 minutes is all it took for my pet to go from level 1 to 19. All your mid-tier pets that are around level 8 or level 10 will probably jump right up to 25. I had a bunch that were like level 12 or 14. They definitely jumped up to level 25. So you only get 1 day a week. It's still fun. Like, I've done videos or talked about leveling your alts through the Pet Battle dailies, mostly Pandaland, but definitely Squirt's the way to go. So enjoy the rest of your Pet Battle bonus event. Not a lot of Pet Battle news, but a lot of Pet Battle leveling. That's really all I've done all week, to be honest. I haven't done much outside of the Pet Battle world.
I'm sure PTR will bring Pet Battle good tidings, so I'm sure we'll have more information, but it's really hard for me to be mature when you say shit like Squirt. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, yeah, right? Guys, I'm not a mature individual, and neither is Rem, because he laughed also.
So good. So does Squirt's attack make the enemy moist, or?
Well, considering the Pet Battle trainer is a little girl, this is not funny, guys.
So
wow.
that made it super weird. Thanks, Jim, for making us feel.
Every once in a while, you guys need to be put in your place. But Squirt actually has a really cool Pet Battle team. If you saw there, like a lot of really rare mini Diablo, Tyrael, and the Treasure Goblin. I only have one of those 3 in my collection. I really wish I had Diablo.
Actually, wow. Oh,
interesting.
Oh my!
You guys going to be leveling any pets this week?
That's a solid no for me.
Yeah,
it's a hard pass.
I really want to, because I want those little birdie, feathered bird velociraptor things. Because I have all 4. I just haven't leveled all of them. I have 2 at 25.
Yeah, and the one thing, oh yeah, that's really cool. I remember actually getting some help with Belle because my DPS was so weak with the one I had to kill. She came to my rescue the one day. But the one thing I did forget to mention, it's somewhat obvious but not obvious. There's 2 pet battle treats you have to equip to give you extra experience. So you actually have to have the lesser pet treat to give you 25 extra experience gained, and then the pet treat for an extra 50%, and they're stackable, along with your safari hat for an extra 10%.
Hey, we never did find that safari hat cosplayer, by the way. I just remember that.
I know, yeah, we were at BlizzCon and Rem's like, did you see was it a lady you said?
Yeah, it was like a night elf dressed as a safari pet battler.
Yeah, I wish if anyone's got pictures, link me. I don't know why I said that. That sounded so weird.
Yeah, because he's super bad, wants nudes. So if you guys have nudes, make sure you Snapchat him at Jimma Banks, or slide into his DMs at Jimma Banks on Twitter.
My Snapchat's Jimma Banks as well.
Before Rem's segment, I'm going to find it right now. I had a very lovely gentleman, which I'm 100% positive I forgot to respond to again. I've been doing that thing all week where I think I respond, but it's in my head and I didn't actually do it, and I kind of leave people hanging. And then something will send me back into either that message or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is awkward. A week ago you messaged me and I read it and I didn't respond. Friza actually messaged me on Monday, and this morning I'm like, I responded in my head and I thought I answered you, but apparently I didn't. He was like, it's okay. I've known you long enough to know how you are. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he definitely does.
He messaged to join the guild, which if you listen, and I haven't responded to you by this, I promise I will after the show. He said, I apologize for sliding into your DMs. And I laughed I laughed harder than I should have, because it was just really funny, his approach. I appreciated the humor.
For a moment I thought you were saying Fry's asked to join the guild. I was like, oh, he's gonna play again.
He's in the guild. I think Masana's in the guild, which means some weird shit in something Indian or Hawaiian, maybe.
It means something and something.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I've been using Google Translate this week, guys. You should be very afraid, because I feel like I'm fluent in Spanish now because I've been Google Translating. Just want you guys to know.
I had to do that to communicate with my twos partner a couple expansions ago, who's Japanese or Chinese. I definitely use Google Translate.
But you didn't churn Japanese? You don't think so?
I don't think so. I really think so, actually. So a small, tiny sidebar before I pass it over to Rem. So I was selling a set of bunk beds from when...
I was about to ask you.
I was selling a set of bunk beds on Facebook Marketplace, and a very lovely gentleman messaged me, but I don't know if... I didn't really know at the time, but he was speaking Spanish. So rather than tell him English only, I get on Google and we have a full back and forth conversation, doing my best to answer his questions, because Google Translate does not pick up normal Spanish, right? It's the perfect Spanish in the Spanish dictionary. It's not real life application when it comes to Spanish. So some stuff, I'm sure he was probably like, wow. Well, anywho, he comes to the house to buy the bunk bed, and I don't tell my husband that he doesn't speak any English. Guys, sometimes I have to get my kicks where I can get them. But then I get all excited because I'm like, yes, this is like the best prank ever. Apparently the guy spoke English. He just assumed that because of my last name that we spoke Spanish. Which, my husband's a white redhead, guys. He's super ginger. And anyway, I tried to prank him, and I was like, how did it go? And he goes, oh, they were nice. And I'm like, oh, that's weird, because how did you understand them? He goes, oh, they spoke English. What? Because
they probably saw him immediately. Okay.
I had a 2-day conversation, but at least I was trying to be nice, and instead of being like, I need you to speak English, I was Google translating. I was quite proud of my skills, guys.
Wait, aren't you guys fluent in Spanish?
I can understand a certain type of Spanish. From a certain skill set of a certain past life that we don't mention or talk about, because that's not who I am anymore, guys. But yes, I do know I know enough to know that some of the stuff I was sending was not correct because I knew enough to know that. I didn't have to translate every single thing. There was a lot of things that I could just, off the top of my head, be able to respond to because I know that. But some of the confusing stuff, like I didn't know how to say bunk beds in Spanish. Anyway, Rem, let's talk about non-spoiler things, but still
not going into spoilers.
Yeah, good information. What do you got for us this week?
So for today, we're going to roll back a little bit and reiterate on something that was a foreshadowing into what was going on. And so we talked a while back about the Elganath Whispers in the Emerald Nightmare. Mm-hmm. So a lot of those have come to pass so far. So we're about 80% of the way of all the whispers actually coming true or foreshadowing into the sense that they are true. So I wanted to talk about the most important one is the at the hour of her third death, she will usher in our coming.
That sounds exciting to me. Like, I'm in. Where are we going? Sounds a little dirty too, so I'm like double in.
So at the very beginning of these whispers, it was theorized that this could either be Sylvanas, but she's already died like 3 or 4 times, so that's irrelevant. But it's going to be pertaining to Azeroth, and that hints to that in between dialogue that we see with Tyrande. So the first death is we talked about this before, the Sundering. It was the point where, the War of the Ancients, Ajara is pulling power from the well, and it causes it to implode, and that causes the continents that we have now. So it used to be one giant continent, and it's pretty much like our Pangea that split apart.
Is that's also what Zandalar is sinking because of that, yes?
Exactly, okay. Yeah. So that the aftermath of the Sundering is what causes Zandalar to become pretty much sinking into the ocean. Yeah. And the bad stuff that's going on over there, we'll learn about that when we're talking about the Zandalari. But the second death is a relative term in terms of like a catastrophic event. It's like a super volcano going off, and it'd be a catastrophe everywhere.
Like natural disaster, but not natural because
it's would it be not only mystical, like in
were you say mystical?
Yeah, so like in Vampire Diaries, when he has Gilbert ring. It's kind of like that.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of like that. That makes sense. I love that you reference that. That is my favorite.
Anyways, so the Cataclysm, you have Deathwing burst through Deepholm, destroys the World Pillar, and causes pretty much like a second Sundering. You have Thousand Needles flooded. You have the Baron split apart. A chasm's there now.
Stormwind's was all screwed up for a while, and like part of it was like broken and on fire.
Yeah, like you had the park completely destroyed. I like the park, but I mean we have a cool memorial now, so I guess that's a win. But so that was like a second Sundering and a half, not like a full thing, but it was significant enough to harm the world soul that we have in Azeroth. And the third one is, no spoilers, but there is an event that happens that will shake the world to its core. And I'm going to be fancy. The denizens of Azeroth are going to have to band together and heal Azeroth. But so we'll come into that. And so after that event, it will start. We'll have everything that goes on in BFA in between, with the burning of Teldrassil, the Battle of Lordaeron. That's all steps into the point where the end game is Azshara and the old gods. And so some of the whispers that have actually happened already is the King of Diamonds has been made upon. That is Magni Bronzebeard. He is the speaker for Azeroth, but apparently he can speak with all Titans' world souls because he's been talking with us to Argus with that stone that we touch in the Crokul Hovel.
Yeah, he was referring to, who was it? Freya?
Eonar.
Eonar, that's right.
Yeah, so she was reaching out to him through, I don't know how that works, because she was talking to us through Argus's world soul.
Yeah.
so she was using him as like a proxy for signal boosting or something other.
Yeah, they don't have really good Wi-Fi where she lives.
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't
have
got that
DSL.
fiber internet, okay?
They got DSL still. But so what's interesting is the King of Diamonds is made a pawn, but we're actively seeing him what feels like helping us further our lives to help Azeroth, help Argus, help everyone. But it might be that he's leading us towards a step of, because if Azeroth in the World Soul dies, then the old gods in the void don't get what they want. They lose out on their prize. So maybe he's prolonging the inevitable and is helping the old gods by helping us, possibly, because all that Algonath says holds true, because it's their master plan. And it's really interesting that he's been made a pawn, but they're doing a good job of making it look like he is on our side. Maybe he doesn't know that he's not, maybe, question mark. But the Lord of Ravens will turn the key. This one has been theorized that it's the world, the pillars of, oh my god, my brain is blanking. But it will turn the key. It's theorized that Khadgar or Kotalos, but Kotalos isn't really.
When you said Lord of Ravens, in my non-lore brain, I would have automatically thought Khadgar.
Yeah, because you have Atiesh that he's got, that he turns into a bird, and his attire is a little raven-like esque.
It's a little outdated. I'm gonna need him to go see a tailor.
And you have Odin with his 2 birds. They're not really ravens, but you have that. But I'm under the impression that it's Khadgar when we turn the pillars and we open up Sargeras's tomb, and then use it to lock it. And so that we'll see about that, because it could have come to pass, but excuse me. But it's probably something that's dealing with Khadgar, my work phone. God damn it. Sorry. The Boy King serves at the master's table. 3 lies he will offer you. Now, Gul'dan has called Anduin Boy King, and it's implied that it's about him because he's only like 16 or 17 at this point, even during the Lordaeron invasion.
But I understand what you say there about his age, because he's super young. We just saved him. Remember when we went through Warlords of Draenor? We had to go.
And Mist as well.
Yeah, he was missing in Mists of Pandaria, and he was just a tiny kid then. But isn't that, if we're looking from a fantasy perspective, to me, World of Warcraft would be set back in the day, right? Before before World and all this stuff. Like it's to me, that's what I would think. It's normal for them to be young, though, like that. So is that...
I guess it's the way I perceive it is he's still really young, but in reality, he's a lot older than we think he is in terms of that world.
Right, because that's normal to them for their kings to be 15. That's completely normal. I mean, Varian, when his dad died, he was just a child as well. So
valid.
To me, I guess visually he's looking more manly, which is
like a Brad Pitt. Yeah, I think
he looks like a young Heath Ledger, but whatevs. So what I'm saying is, I interrupted you, but I was thinking I would have thought Anduin, but then I wouldn't have thought Anduin because it would have seemed normal for me for him to be older.
Yeah, so the Boy King implies Anduin, but it's also the way the whisper is worded, 3 lies he will offer you. He's the king. He doesn't need to offer anything. He would order or command. So it's also been Wrathion is a possibility because he implies himself as the leader of the Black Dragonflight. And you have Deathwing. Netherian was a pawn of N'Zoth and the Old Gods. So he has a tie-in there. And he's always been trying to have the alliance with the Horde destroy each other so that they can band against the greater threat, which in reality, that could be one of the lies that he's offered.
Yeah, Wrathion's always been a snake in the grass to me. I didn't trust him in Myths. Whenever he's like, hey, let's go to this mountaintop here and we can do a thing. I'm like, yeah, this guy's gonna kill me in my sleep. I'm not following him up to because he was really creepy. He came off very, come to my van, little girl. He really creeped me out in the game in general. Yeah,
but yeah, no. So the Boy King, I think it's Anduin. It's because the way the story's panning out for Battle for Azeroth, we have him taking the whole of Azeroth on the doorstep of the Undercity. And it's very, very out of character, I guess, for what I would think he would be following in Varian's footsteps. Varian wasn't like that. He could kick anyone's ass, but he wasn't like, we're falls to the wall, we're just going to destroy you. And so I'm thinking that he is going to be made a pawn in some sort of way. Him and Sylvanas. I think they're going to go with that route, honestly.
But that's what we would expect, right?
Yes.
So to me,
no.
From a non-lore person who just goes to the storyline and feels these emotions, but don't really know the weight of them until you tell me what the weight means or tell me what the implications are, what ripples this affects in the future. I don't know until you tell me. But if I'm them writing this out, and they've got Christy Golden who's writing the books that are coinciding with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I want Anduin to be, as a player, I want him to be my king. I want him to be like his dad. But secretly, I want him to kill everyone. I want him to be where, you know how there's defining moments, and I'm going to use Batman as a example here because I want to know if you think the same thing. So Batman had a defining moment in his childhood, and his parents were killed, and it happened in front of him. He brooded for a really long time, right? He brooded for a really long time and used that to kind of create what he is, which I love Batman, but the guy's a vigilante. Like, I'm just saying, he don't do shit by law, right? He ain't textbook. He does whatever the fuck he wants whenever he wants to do it, and that's fine, whatever. But I feel like Anduin's going to have, like, internally a moment where a switch is going to flip, and I feel like he's going to kill everyone. Like, houses burning, villages, horses, murlocs. Like, I feel like it's been super...
You think he's just going to snap?
I think there's going to be a moment, because in order for him to really be who he needs to be, he has to go through those moments that kind of break him down. And I feel like he's been doing that already because he's been super quiet, and then we get this awesome cinematic and, you know, mass res and like all these things are happening. But I feel like he hasn't hit that moment just yet where from a character point, they almost have to teeter him right on the edge of, I don't want to say sanity, but on the edge of he doesn't follow in his dad's footsteps, and maybe he does things the opposite way because he's so sick of this shit that he's, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to say, well, my dad's way isn't working because look how long we've been fighting this battle. I feel like maybe that's just me wanting that. I might be reaching here, and that might not be anything that Blizzard's doing, and you're probably right that they're going to go the safe route and have him be very much like his father, but I feel like we shouldn't expect it. I feel like we should just expect something completely different, because if I was Blizzard, that's what I would do. I feel like in character development, he needs those moments, and if any good story, the hero always falls from grace in a major way before they're able to
die a hero, live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah, so I feel like we might see that, especially with, as you said, with him being young. I feel like we might see... I'd like to see some madness. Let's see the Mad Boy King. I want to see torture chambers. Like, let's get crazy on a Saturday.
Before I saw the cinematic for Lordaeron, that's was my brainwaves was I want him to utilize Shadow. I want him to be consumed by the void and become a Shadow Priest, because he dabbled in it a little bit, but more often than not, he's been like a holy priest. But
I feel like
dark route. Yeah.
I feel like that line of thought might not be too far off, especially given the Lyria situation. I feel like I would like to see that, and I think that it would be a smart move story-wise, because we really need to feel it. We need to just go through those motions with him, and maybe even pull him back from the edge. Like, if I got to go slap Anduin around to get him to, you know, do what he needs to do, like, I'm in. Let's go. Take me to the keep right now.
But speaking on that, so if, like, during the cinematic, I 100% got emotional in that hall, and if they could keep that up throughout the entire expansion, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with myself. Like, it's going to be...
I'll cry with you, don't worry.
I've been telling everyone this is going to be even better than Legion. And Legion, honestly, in my opinion, is the best it's ever been. It's
story-wise, right? Just the things?
Well, in the whole deal, it's better than Wrath, in my opinion. I love the shit out of Wrath. But story for another time. So another... Another whisper was her heart is a crater, and we have filled it.
Ooh, my, that sounds fun.
But so that one is Azeroth. I'm like 90% sure at this point because of the way Jaina is going in Battle for Azeroth and the way that she is interacting with her family on Cool Terrace. I don't think there's a way for it to be on her because we assumed that it was her because of the Theramore being a crater, her heart's a crater with all the things that's going on with her. But I'm pretty sure it's with Azeroth. They've been having plenty of time to burrow down deeper because the prison that N'Zoth is being held in is weakening. So,
and the heart of Azeroth isn't part of that to repair. I remember something in one of the panels where the Azerite was going to repair also whatever was going on with Azeroth. I thought for some reason, like, we were using the Azerite and the heart to repair the
Yeah, so the heart of Azeroth is going to be a relic or a item of power that we are given by Azeroth itself. So it's actually quite pivotal in everything that we're going to be doing. But yeah, no, we're going to utilize the Azerite to help heal Azeroth and to fight off the enemies and all that good stuff. But the 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path, that one's already happened with Tomb of Slay Garrus. That is the pillars. So we have the pillars utilized in the Tomb of Slay Garrus, and I don't know how the mechanics behind it, but possibly putting that much power into there, or maybe N'Zoth is closer to the Broken Shore than we imagined, but either way, that's already happened, and it's, again, foreshadowing the coming of old gods.
I'm going to interrupt you one more time, but you have a really good segment. You can't expect me to keep quiet because I'm remembering stuff. So didn't you say that you had a thought process that, because we don't know where N'Zoth's prison is, right? But you had thought that perhaps it was under Broken Shore, did you not?
Well, because of one of the deals where it was like drown yourself in the circle of stars, I was assuming based on the location of the Well of Eternity and where N'Zoth's empire was during the Black Empire, that it was actually in between the Broken Shore and Suramar, or around that isle. And I actually spent, I think it was like 2 to 3 hours swimming around in the waters looking for any hint of something that they try to dabble in there, but didn't find it.
Kudos for remembering everything you tell me, because I've been pretty much on point all evening with remembering conversations. Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure. Trying to be a better human, guys.
But no, so that's really interesting with the N'Zoth stuff and the drownings and the water and but the one that was out of place but doesn't really make sense is from the earth he draws strength, our earth, our strength. I'm assuming Wrathion is a black dragonflight. Black dragonflights are typically earth warders. The Netherian was the aspect of earth and dust and shit like that. So long story short, I'm assuming it's Wrathion, especially because we have Ebonhorn at the end of Netherian's lair. He's like, oh, I have family business to attend to. Dude, your whole family's dead. What are you talking about? And that's what I find interesting about that too, was how does he even know about Wrathion? Maybe they're telepathically connected or some weird shit. I don't know.
Who said that?
Ebonhorn. At Netherian's lair, when at the very end of it, he goes, oh, I have to leave you, heroes. I have family business to attend to. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but it was something along those lines.
Interesting. Is this after we went through the Deathwing stuff in the cave?
No, this was... Yes and no. So because it's a dungeon, it's before the raid, but in Emerald Nightmare, all these whispers were said, and all of them are lining up.
Got it. Okay.
And so Zura and the confrontation that she had with Illidan, he killed her. We put her into the Nightlight Crucible, and she's a lot more useful that way and not so loud. But so one of the whispers, its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below. It's implied, in my opinion, to Zura and her forcing the light on Illidan, and it's just pretty much saying the light isn't all what it's made out to be. The grass isn't green on the other side. It's the total void is bad. Total light is just as bad, because it's, imagine I'm gonna mess up the word. A totalitarian government, fascists, all that good stuff. Anyways,
took me a long time to say heirloom, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be any fucking help with this word you're trying to say.
But
totalitarian?
Totalitarian, there you go.
Hi, I can talk, guys. What?
But,
sorry, I got really excited.
The light is going to be like a totalitarian. And so it's either side in 100%, like raw power is not good. But yeah, so some of the whispers have already happened. A lot of it is foreshadowing, but it's all lining up, and we're gonna see, unfortunately, a catastrophic event in maybe a pre-patch for BFA, or during BFA, something will happen, and it's not going to be good.
Well, and we still have the
it's going to hit the fan.
We still have the battleground, the Seething Shore, which is going to have some pre-event or pre-story. Yeah,
so what they said about and what I've seen data mined, it's the Seething Shore. You have the Azerite objectives.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll start to collect it and start learning about it, I guess, question mark.
I'm going to make sure I go in there and check that out and see if the Method fan wants me to do a video on it. I don't like to touch the PvP stuff. I let the PvPers do that stuff. I try to stay away from that, but we'll have to go in and check it out for sure. Rem, that was an awesome segment, FYI. It
really was.
That was probably one of the best segments you've ever had.
Oh.
Yeah, that was if you don't get a ton of comments with people giving you kudos on that segment, I'm going to fucking riot, because it was amazing. Guys, if you really enjoyed Rem's segment, please make sure you comment. If you listen on iTunes, send an email to bell@pwncast.net and tell me how good of a job Rem did so that I could give him kudos. He worked really, really hard this week, guys, on practicing public speaking so that he could be a better podcaster, and I'm super proud. Yeah, it was a great... right? No, it was a great segment. I'm very, very, very... If you hold my interest, the me unmuting and talking back is a good thing, because that means I was, like, engaged. I'm not saying I'm not always engaged, but...
Low-key, I'm super excited that you're actually interested in most of the lore going on.
I know,
and knowing about it.
That's been something weird, but I told you guys I'm trying to be a better human when it comes to gaming, and I don't just want to be a one-trick pony. I want to be all the tricks of the pony, I guess.
Also, can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right.
But I just want to say a small tidbit about the story. That's the way they're doing story now in raids is amazing. So I'm highly, highly, highly suggesting to get into Antorus in some form or another in normal before LFR opens, because it's not just here's the raid, here's a couple cutscenes of story, and that's the end. It's monumental stuff going on through the raid. And shout out to Terran Gregory, he already gets praised enough, but fucking amazing.
I know his team did stellar.
But and then where the fuck is Wrathion again? Like, well,
dude, I'm telling you, ever since Admiral Taylor's Garrison.
I've
been obsessed with this for a really long time, and I think the only reason why I'm obsessed with it is because I remember Lycan, I've told you guys this so many times, I remember Lycan telling me the story of when Wrathion was in the egg, and all that, where he heard people kind of plotting how they were going to use him, and I kind of took that to my own, like, I don't know why I bonded with that story more than any of the other ones. I think it was just because I was trying to imagine how I would feel if I was him. I would be bitter as fuck, and I would be slowly plotting my revenge. I'd be chilling in the background, and I would be putting puzzle pieces into place. And then I remember in Warlords of Draenor, we went through Admiral Taylor's garrison. Weird shit happened. Everybody was dead, and there was some obscure mentionings of Wrathion bringing supplies in the dungeon journal, or in his journal, and then nothing. It was just decimated. Like they killed everybody. And then there was a random quest where we went into a cave and Wrathion was mentioned in kind of a weird way. And then Legion, we go and we see what went on in High Mountain with Deathwing, which was completely unexpected from me. I'm sure lore-wise it made sense for it to be in that cave in High Mountain. I don't really know, but for me as a non-lore person, it was unexpected. And the second I seen Deathwing, I kind of automatically just assume Wrathion, because the two are just interchangeable to me because they're, once father and son and whatnot. I personally am waiting for them to, and I think if I'm Blizzard,
by the way, don't think father and son, think more of second cousin once removed.
Right, because he technically to go on Maury Povich and DNA results. But I feel like they've built up a phenomenal amount of suspense in the lore community from a Wrathion point of view. We've seen nothing, and it's been little tiny random tidbits of Wrathion in each expansion, just very minute, but we have seen nothing since he was such a pivotal point in our legendary quest in Miss Pandaria for him to just... He blows up a fucking garrison. People think that it wasn't Wrathion. I'm telling you, Wrathion killed everybody. He went on some kind of crazy binge, and maybe he was up all night, hopped up on Mountain Dew, but he killed everybody in Admiral Taylor's garrison. But I do wonder what the future holds with him from a story perspective, especially in the next expansion, and what those possibilities could be.
Yeah, it's definitely a cliffhanger / cock tease lore story. Yeah,
right.
You've seen his eyes. He's not all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, he just is a... Then I seen somebody was like, Anduin and Wrathion were besties even when they were kids, and there was like a picture where Anduin was at the, what is that tavern? I can't remember the name of the tavern behind the stairs. Or under the stairs. The tavern where he hangs out at. You go to the Veiled Stair and then...
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
I can't remember the name. I used to be ingrained in my brain because Miss Pandaria is one of my favorite expansions, but I lived there for a really long time trying to deal with my legendary stuff. This was when I was not such a good... I mean, I was a good gamer, but I wasn't like... know all the things. And I never read my quest ever. I just went to where it said to go on the map.
Reading is overrated.
Yeah, then I would just get frustrated. Now, guys, I have a confession to make. On the heels of Rem's super awesome segment, which I'm still really, really proud of, I completely forgot this week to do the forum fuckery, guys. I let you guys down, and I apologize. I didn't want to do it right before the show because I feel like I wasn't going to pull good stuff. I didn't get a chance to do it this week. Honestly, it's been a really long week, and stuff happened to me earlier today that threw me off, and I just was not able to focus on anything after that. So I apologize. There is no...
Everyone understands, Belle, and it's not like you didn't get the whole show prepared, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, but the only reason why the show is prepared is because I do little bits throughout the week. If
Right.
I didn't do that throughout the week, I'd be... So I do not have any segment or anything like that prepared, so it's not going to be the normal, long, drawn-out Belle ranting, talking, all that kind of stuff. So you guys are getting a reprieve on the nagging voice in your ear, which hopefully is better. I know last week the audio was a little weird. I'm not sure what was going on, but Windows decided to update and didn't ask for my fucking permission, even though it's set for me to update. And it was that fall creators update finally. I guess they finally forced it because they got tired of me not updating, and it kind of did some wonky shit with my audio driver, so I had to fix those. But let's move right along.
Peter Piper picked some peppers.
Yeah, Peter Piper picked a pick of pickled peppers.
You should have just played it cool and said that you didn't do your segment because you studied up on all the lore, and you and Rem kind of did a duet there.
Peter Piper.
Yeah, I did study all the lore, and I did kind of do. I like that, Jim. I'm stealing that, guys. I worked really hard on the segment this week.
For real.
I had to learn. I had to hone all my active listening skills instead of just listening. My active listening skills. Jim, what did you do this week in World of Warcraft?
All week, I leveled pets as if my week in WoW wasn't boring enough. Like recently, when I just say I did world quests and blah blah blah, I barely did those, to be honest. I only leveled pets. I was busy this week, not necessarily with stuff as important as the family and stuff like what you were doing, Belle. But I do want to get into that raid. I haven't, but all I've done is just pet battles. Leveled up against Squirt's team.
I just want to point out that you guys are probably going to be like, what the fuck? Why is Jim and Rem on different sides? So, in a strange, stunning twist of events, I actually...
Gemma, did you turn off your camera?
I didn't put their boxes. I could have swore their boxes were in the right spot, but it turns out that I just noticed that...
Does it say remedies under my name?
You're in Remedies.
Leave it. We're doing it live.
You're in Remedies box, and Rem is in your box.
Why do you gotta make it sound so disgusting when you say it like that?
I feel like I should just leave it, and those of you at home... Those of you at home know that they could just do the body swap. But as Jim was talking, I'm like, oh, did I really do that with the overlay? Now I can edit the show after this.
No, don't.
We're not editing. You just
don't worry about it. We're doing it live.
So get ready, because we are going to be doing live, and it's most likely going to be after the holiday. So Christmas is really a lot of stuff going on, and I need to focus on that so that I'm not a nutcase for my family. But January is going to be when we do go back live. So I guess I have to get used to just dealing when I am a complete moron and forget to move the boxes around.
Don't be so hard on yourself. It's not that easy.
Guys, this was almost a perfect show, and then I had to go and ruin it. Anyway.
I don't get that excited for lore, but I enjoyed just sitting listening to that, obviously.
It was nice. Rem, which the only reason I noticed is because I was like, why does it say Rem by Jim's face? Low-key, that's how I don't call you guys by your real names, is because I look at the names on your box before I talk to you. Rem, a.k.a. Jimma, what did you do this week in WoW?
Remy Banks. Yeah, Remy Banks. Did you have a good week?
Peter Piper picked a pickled peppers. Anyways,
that's tough.
It is. So on my week of WoW, I did quite a bit. So yes, we raided on a non-raid day on Tuesday, right at the launch of it. So we cleared it in one day, kicked some ass. I topped the meters. But no, it was fun.
On your Shadow Priest?
Yeah.
Are you bragging about that?
Not only bragging, I'm excited about it.
That's not a feat. You're a Shadow Priest. I'd be concerned if you weren't at the top of the meters.
What? Obviously,
Shadow Priests have phenomenal DPS. I don't see them at the bottom of very many things.
There's more than 2 targets.
Oh, that makes kind of like me. I get it.
But no, I did quite a bit. I had a really good time in the raid. We killed the bosses, had a good time. No one died to the elevator boss, but I did get this shit scared out of me from a hole that appeared out of nowhere. I know it's there now, but just careful when you guys run into the Varimathras. There's a hole. Forewarning you. But no, I did a lot of stuff on the Horde Priest. What I did is, I don't know if it's frowned upon, but I bought the Legion for a off license on my account for $25, and then use that on my Horde Priest. And so instead of paying $60 for a boost, I only paid $25. I have all my professions leveled up because I was at 60. Hashtag, yeah.
I feel like that's illegal.
Frowned upon, maybe. But it's within the parameters. So, because character boosts are account wide, so you can use it on any license on the account.
Well, there's him telling you how to get thwart the system after you can't thwart the system anymore because that deal
Nope.
is null and void.
Thwart. Yeah.
Thwart. What'd I say? Thwart? Thwart?
No, I'm giving you shit because you did the same thing before.
Oh, I'm like, did I say wrong? By the by, guys, expect all that stuff to go back on sale right before Christmas. They do it every year. So don't listen. You can listen to Rem's advice because all that stuff will go back on sale. WoW will be $10. Legion will be half off. They do it every year for Christmas. So Black Friday is just so that they could be a part of the team. The fact that you guys are in different boxes is really bugging me now, and it wasn't bothering me 5 minutes ago. So, guys, my week in WoW, I haven't been able to do a whole lot. The one night I was, like, ready to go do stuff, my internet took a crap on me, and I got stuck playing Candy Crush on my phone versus actually playing World of Warcraft. I
felt bad.
I did the stuff that I normally do. I set up my events. I do the Writers' Holiday Party the Friday before Christmas, and I basically play Santa Belle, and I have everybody sit on my lap awkwardly, and I give them presents that may or may not contain a mount or a pet. Sometimes I really wanted to put coal there, but coal's stackable, so you can't wrap coal, which is really sad. I did randomly trade players coal because I thought it was kind of funny, but and then
like when you try to hand me trash and I take it.
Right. That's my favorite thing to do is be like, here. And then they automatically will grab it, and then you don't have to do anything with the trash. I did it to Rem the whole week at BlizzCon, and it was amazing. My husband doesn't fall for it anymore because I do it all the time, and he'll look at me flat out and go, I'm not taking your trash. I'm like, oh, that hurts my feelings. But I did some guild things. I did my emissaries. I'm starting on upgrading my legendaries on my alts just because I'm a completionist, and I like to just get that stuff done. It gives me purpose in game right now, and I really like doing that. I did not get to raid with the guild on Tuesday, and I'm going to be really honest with you guys because, you know, we're family, and you guys have listened to me. Some of you are new. Some of you have been listening to the very beginning. You kind of know how I am. And I wasn't going to talk about this just because I know that there's people in my guild that listen to the show, and I didn't want anybody to be offended or anything, but I feel like I shouldn't have to not voice how I feel on my show or talk about something that bothered me on my show because it's my show. So, with that, I was very frustrated on Tuesday because we've done it every tier where we go in on Tuesday if you have the availability and be able to do it. I think it's kind of crappy. The reason I think it's crappy is I understand the reason it's being done. So this isn't a lack of understanding on why the raid team goes in on that Tuesday versus waiting for the raid night. But I'm an adult. I have a job and I have children. I don't get done working until late some days, and I have to feed my children, and I have to do adult things. And I can do those things on Monday because that's the raid day, and I don't, you know, I have plans for that, and I make adjustments to my schedule for that day. It was put on the schedule, and that's great, and that's awesome, and I understand. But my feelings were hurt, and the reason my feelings were hurt is because the raid team takes a vote, or because whatever, that's the decision that's made every tier. And I was upset about it last tier, and the tier before, I think it was not last tier, but the tier before that I was upset because there was tons of people who couldn't attend. So I said to my raid leader, okay, so here's the deal. If you're going to do that, just make sure you put it on the calendar, because it was kind of a surprise thing where it wasn't official. Put it on the calendar so that people that want to go can attend. Now, I expected them to maybe, you know, down a few bosses. I didn't expect them to extend the raid longer so that they could do a full clear. Now, here's the thing about me. I don't have a filter, I don't have a censor, I don't have a fake smile, and I don't know how to pretend that everything is okay when it isn't. My feelings were hurt because my raid team did a full clear of the raid and I couldn't be there. The offset to that is it was just me. It's just one person who couldn't be there, right? So it's not really that big of a deal. Like I said, another person couldn't be there, but I'm sure he wasn't too emotional about it. To me, if I was the raid leader, I wouldn't have ran. I wouldn't have let everybody run on Tuesday unless the entire team could be there, because I think, yes, the majority makes sense, but doesn't the one person matter, right? And it's not just because I'm the guild master, but doesn't one person matter? So to me, if I was the raid leader, I would have said, unless everybody can go, I don't think it's appropriate. I think we should wait for a raid night because that's what's fair. Unfortunately, that isn't what happened, and that's fine. That part was okay. It is what it is. We do it every tier, but I was very sad and disappointed that they did a full clear and I didn't get to be involved in that. That really bothered me. They posted a picture. I commented lame. Okay, shit happens, guys. I'm not perfect. I'm human. I am allowed to have emotions, and I'm allowed to not sometimes respond the way that I should because I do pretty good most of the time. I get a message from a friend, and he's like, hey, this was kind of not cool of you as a guild master. Honestly, I meant like lame. You guys did it without me. Lame. I probably should have said that in the sentence, but I didn't. So I assumed that people would understand Belle wasn't there and she was a little sad that she missed it. So she was being a little salty, whatever. But of course, Belle's not allowed to make mistakes, right? We have to be perfect all the time, especially as a guild master. So I did like amend my comment, but and I've been thinking about it the last couple days, especially because Rem triggered me earlier when he said the word raid in chat, and it sent me on a huge rant where I was talking in all caps and I was just really frustrated. And I thought, Belle, why are you really frustrated? Are you sad that you missed the raid? You don't even like raid. Like, what are you really sad about? And then I realized that I wasn't sad about missing the raid. I was sad that nobody else was sad that I wasn't there. That nobody was like, maybe we should wait to do a full clear so that the full raid team could be here, including Belle. I think that's really what the issue was. And sometimes I think it's nice for us to deep dive into what bothers us when it comes to gaming and playing with other people, especially with guilds and when some of your raiders are your friends and stuff like that. I think it's important that you analyze that, because this whole time I thought that I was salty for one reason, and it turns out it was really because it didn't seem to bother anybody else where it would bother me. Like if we would have raided and one of the raiders couldn't be there on a non-raid day, like I said, I wouldn't allow it. If I was a different person, I would have shut it down anyway. As me being the guild master, I had the authority to do so, but I don't feel like that's the right message that you send to your raid leaders, to veto them with stuff like that. I just, that's the reason I didn't do it, because you give your raid leader that position for a reason, and it's not to use your veto power because you're the boss. So I didn't do that. But yeah, then I just realized that, fuck, I might actually have some feels. There might be feelings inside me somewhere that I was sad that nobody was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do a full clear and we should wait for Belle. Now, as I'm talking, you guys are probably going, that don't know my guild, are probably going, wow, your guild's a bunch of dicks. They're not really, because, Rem said they plan on doing a full clear on Sunday for me, which I don't feel like I should make them do a full clear just for me. I feel like I should just pug myself so that they don't have to do that. And I'll probably end up doing that, because I don't feel like the whole guild should have to do a full clear of not being able to get gear just to accommodate one person. But, anyway, I just felt like I wanted to share. You guys thought that was going to be like a huge rant where I was going to be like, fuck all you people. Guys, sometimes, I'm human. It
You
happens.
You are.
You want me to have no filter?
What? Why?
Well, because in my mind, you enjoy raiding, but you're not there majority of the time. So that's why it's not like, oh, what about Belle? It was more about, we are going to help Belle get the kill.
Hold on. First of all, I don't need anybody to help Belle get shit, because I pull my own fucking weight, first of all. Second of all, I'm always there for all the way through progression. When I mentally check out is after we've been through progression and we're continuously killing and we're still doing the same shit, then I mentally check out because I'm over it, right? I have other stuff that I need to be doing at that time, so I'm going to get that stuff done because that is important. I don't typically, this was the first tier that I actually missed quite a bit of it, mostly because we had been in there for a really long time, and you already know what we suffered. We suffered some stuff in raid, and it was a
yeah.
Not for the public, but it was tough. I did check out. Every other time, I'm there all the way through. Once we're done and people are geared, I absolutely stop raiding 150%. And it's because my time is valuable and I have stuff that I could be doing during that time. If it's not progression and we've already progressed and we've down the full heroic, we're just repeating at this point. Yeah, I have stuff to do. But other than that, I'm pretty much there.
And it wasn't we have to help minuscule Belle. It was more of can't go one person against a whole raid. It was,
I just would feel I told my raid leader. I told my raid leader if there was more than just me that missed, if there was several people that missed, that we did need to rerun it for them. But if it was just me, then it isn't a big deal, and I can pug it. I don't have a problem pugging it. It's not.
On that note, that person's not really around anyway. So
yeah, I hate pugs, but I mean, I'll do it because I don't. Like I said, I wasn't trying to be unreasonable in the way that I felt about it. But guys, gaming is emotional. And when you game with people that you care about, although I don't care about everyone, but I do care about everyone. I might not be friends with all of them on a personal level, but he's right, though. I don't really like raiding. I enjoy being with my people, and I like that I get to be with them those 2 times a week or whatever, because I'm really, really busy, and sometimes I just completely forget to connect with the guild or even parts of that. So I like doing those things, which is why I do them. Otherwise I wouldn't. I don't have to raid. It's not a requirement. I can pug and get the gear that I need and not have to really give a shit. I have AOTC for every single tier since probably Warlords of Draenor, maybe, because I don't think I raided very much in Mists of Pandaria except to get. Oh yeah, I guess I did raid a lot. I just blacked it out without even thinking about it. But yes, all of those things are valid, and I'm sure that the raid team said that. They were like, "What does she even care?" I'm sure that they said that. But just because there are times when I mentally check out of raiding because I have other things that I have to do that, no offense, are a little bit more important than that, and it just is what it is. There are several other people that check out of raiding and they still love them and would bend over backwards for them, and I can name 4 of them off the top of my head. So we even bend over backwards to let them change their roles in raid, which I would not have done if I was a raid leader. Guys, if I was a raid leader, I would not be very nice. I would not allow things that were allowed. I would not allow the things that were allowed. Yeah. But that's why we have like 12 warlocks now, which really I'm kind of not needed anymore. They have
too many fucking warlocks.
Yeah, they have their fair share of warlocks. I'm not even really needed, and I'm
more than the fun run team, because we had a few too.
Well, and I'm gonna be doing I want to be doing some stuff with the fun run on probably some of my alts, just because with the time difference, I have a little bit more ability. This is me really reaching and hoping that I can do everything I really want to do. But I did promise my monk to Cal and Zura for they have a little run that they are putting together that's not in an official capacity, but it does have some guildies, but it's not in official capacity. They have a run that's going to be some days during the middle of the week, which one day will be tough because it's actually on show day, and I told them that's going to be kind of hit or miss, but the one day of the week will be good for my monk because I'll be doing the healing on there, and I might
Jim can host.
I might even take I might even take Bella in there for that one. But it's been nice because I've been conversating in that group about raid and talking about it, and it's been refreshing to matter. That's what's been refreshing the last couple days of having this discussion about this group, and 2 of them are, I think there's a couple of them that are old percussion raiders that that are putting together this non-official. It's like, it's nothing big, it's just, trying for progression in a non-official guild capacity, just friends trying to do stuff. But it's been really nice that the conversations with raid days and in times, it's been really nice that it's mattered that they've asked me what is good for me and what I can do and what I can't do. And yes, you can bring the tune that you want. It's been really nice to feel on the level versus always feeling inadequate, which I often feel in progression because when I try, and it's obvious when I try, and it's really obvious when I don't. But honestly, the entire raid team for progression, they're not people that hang out with me all the time. A couple of them do, but the majority
we don't hang out at all.
No, but I mean, like, the majority of the raid, they're not people that message me and ask me how my day are going, or, randomly whisper me.
Aja never talks to you.
I said the majority. You just 2 people out of a raid of 20 does not a friendship basket make of people, right? And you're not supposed to. It's a raid team. I guess there isn't,
Friendship basket
to
of
me,
people.
though, I miss a lot of the old raid team, and I'm probably talking towards the end of last expansion and maybe the beginning of this expansion. The progression raid team is not what it used to be in culture, and it's not a bad thing. people change. You get new raiders. Like, that's just the culture that develops. But it's just not my scene anymore because it's no longer my people. It's the raid leaders' people and it's the strat leaders' people. I'm not involved in that day-to-day stuff with them. So, you know, occasionally, like I've told you guys, the Breakfast Club will invite me to stuff. It's not, those kinds of things aren't very often. And, you know, I'm kind of an afterthought, which is okay. But it's been nice talking with my friends on the for the non-official raid team. That's been actually fun to just feel like I matter, and I've missed that, which that's probably what made me realize what I was going through. But I figured I wanted to tell you guys that, and the only reason I did that is because I didn't have a segment, and I felt like I needed to give you a little bit more because I kind of failed there. But my week in WoW, hopefully next week will be amazing. I'm trying to get all the alts caught up. Next week, you can expect some PvP talk. I'm probably going to do... I might even stream, actually, this weekend, guys, if you're still paying attention to the PWNCAST channel. I might even stream PvP because I do plan on spending my weekend in there. I'm going to try to get all my stuff done tomorrow. So if you guys are hanging around, I'll tweet and do any of that weird stuff.
I'll watch.
You'll watch? You'll probably be doing... Well, you kind of ghost on the weekends because...
The event's over now. I'm free.
Oh, you're free? We get your time.
Absolutely.
We get your time.
Oh, it's not like I'm local. You know how to get a hold of me. I'm very easy to get a hold of.
You're not local.
I'm not local in the sense
Canada's,
of that's just a term.
Canada's
like,
not local. Well, we were talking earlier. We were having a conversation about moving to California, and my daughter said, well, the milk is just as expensive in Canada. And I'm like, that's why I don't live. I made a statement about milk being expensive in not the state I live in. So...
It's because it comes in bags.
It does come in bags, guys. It does come in bags. We're not even going to get into that because it's,
right?
It's like mind-boggling. It's one of those things that I've never truly grasped the concept on, but I'm intrigued enough to wonder, like, why we're such shit that we don't care about the planet, that we don't have milk in bags. Like,
you think that's better than the plastic jugs? Because plastic bags
from a landfill and recyclable breakdown. I'm not a recycleologist, so I don't know if the plastic is better than the hard plastic. Like, I don't really know what that means.
All around.
Yeah, I don't really know what that means, but I feel like...
If anything watching or listening is a recycleologist, can you let us know?
What is that even called when people...
No, you said it right.
Fucking recycleologist.
Science, what is it? Would that be Environmental Protection Agencies?
Yeah, I mean, not EPA, but that'd be environmental /
How do you go to school for that? What do you take in school to want to, like, decide what is good to recycle and not recycle? Is there, like...
You go to ag and raise animals and shit like that, I guess.
Interesting. So... For the closing...
Wait, before you close, can I have a small forum fuckery really quick?
Do you have one?
It's fucking amazing.
Is that what you've been doing while I was having my long-winded my emotional breakdown over Raid that I don't even care about?
And that was before your little episode.
Okay, so first, what is the title of the forum?
I want my breasts back.
Must be a gnome. What's the forum say?
So pretty much it's a rundown of they're nerfing the female breast size on dwarfs, and they're upset.
This is not true.
It is a little true. Their
backs are hurting.
So
is that a man or is that a guy or a girl, or you don't know? It's not.
I don't know. I mean,
what's the name?
Vaida, Vaida.
Link. Oh, you did link it. Hold on. I might be able to decipher if this is a man or a woman. So what are?
So one of the lines is, I remember the girl old days where they used to move freely while I ran. Now they are just stationary, rock hard little lumps on my chest.
That is amazing.
I don't feel comfortable in this conversation.
Someone said, yeah, I need my breasts back.
The one below it.
Just so you know, most of the men have bigger boobs than the women. Who plays this game IRL? Oh, that's mean. Oh. Oh. Thought that was related to Pilgrim's Bounty. Never mind. My pecs are quite supple. Thank you very much. This is probably, where was this? And I didn't even look. Normally I look during the week.
It's just like on the 4th or 5th page. I saw it and I was like, oh, this is good.
I'm sorry, balloons for boobs is not realistic. I'm with you, bruh, because it's not really realistic. Your breasts are fine. Not every race needs big breasts. What's wrong with my boobs? And it's just a random blood elf. Oh, guys, this one's gold. This is a good one. Just go to the forums and search, I want my breasts back. This is just a treasure trove of lovely. It's making me sad that I didn't go through the forums earlier. I'll make sure that I do that this week. Me and Rem will have we like to do the forum stuff, but I just didn't get a chance. Somebody said, I do agree, Blizzard should probably have made it a toggle. What? A character physics slider like The Sims, right? That doesn't make sense to me. I feel like I don't need to have boob control. I feel like if I had boob control, I don't really know what would happen to my characters in game because I don't have a middle, right? I have one extreme or the other. So it'd be interesting to say the least. But I really have noticed that, actually. I've noticed in the character creation screen that it does seem... But they're really kind of weird looking anyway. I don't really particularly find dwarves attractive.
I resemble that remark.
Right. And gnomes are not like sexy, but they're cute. To me, I think I don't know. It's just weird to me because they look like kids. I couldn't take them seriously. Like, for 5 minutes, I had a slutmog on my gnome, and it felt wrong. Like, it felt super weird because I seen her little booty, and I'm like, you're seriously 5 years old. Go put some clothes on. That's the best one ever, Rem. Someone's all, but mine are nice. Oh, that's so good. If my mammary glands were placed where a cow's ought to be, no one would play a femitar.
Oh my god.
So what's funny about that, guys, is mammary glands is what my husband calls them, and that's what makes... I'm wondering... I had to actually look if that was my husband. That's amazing.
On the forums.
Yeah, that would be something he would do. That is amazing. My hat's off to you. If you know the original person who posted this, I would like to shake their hand because this is amazing. So make sure you guys check that out. Guys, that is pretty much all we have for this week. I once again apologize that Rem and Jim are in the wrong place.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Rem just wanted to be in the seniority box because I don't know if anybody that watches the show have noticed that the boxes have always been in order of seniority. So obviously I'm the female and it would look weird if there were two dicks sitting next to each other. So obviously there's the female in the middle to kind of balance that out. But yeah, I apologize.
Just Jimities and Remy Banks.
That's Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you for the comments. I think we did a pretty good job of responding to everybody. I might have missed one or two, and I apologize if I did. I'll make sure that I rectify that situation. Make sure you guys comment. Give us some feedback on some of the things, especially Rem's lore. I'm interested in what you guys think about some of that. And yeah, I want to banter back and forth. And I also, for my segment, I would like anybody else to comment on if they've ever felt like emotional about, you know, a situation in game that kind of affected them in real life for like 5 minutes until they had to like recompose and realize that they're just being a whiny little bitch. But I want to know if you guys have ever felt some kind of like hurt or something like that from something in game, because I think it's an important topic because, you know, Bell Lives Matter, guys. I just want to say Bell Lives Matter. Also, make sure you stock the channel because I'm sure I'll be streaming. I feel like I'm getting the inkling.
You just got committed now.
Yeah, I've been getting the inkling to do it for a while, and I've been having I'm gonna start doing PWNCAST on my personal channel too, so that I could be a little bit less PC on my personal channel, so I could just be, and I could do
less PC.
Yeah, because I try to keep it obviously I say the F word a lot, but I try to keep it, you know.
Yeah. There is another level to Belle for those listening.
Some of them have seen it because of my Snapchat.
Yeah, it's either 0 or 100.
Right. Quick. I don't have a chill in between. It's either bad.
Neither do your children.
I know my kids have no chill. It's either bad or really bad. That's just kind of how it is. Guys, make sure you follow these lovely gentlemen on the Twitters. You can see their Twitters that are in the wrong box. But hey, you know, follow them anyway. Yeah, follow at Jimma Banks. He does look like Jimma when he does that. That's great. That is amazing, actually. You did that just like Jim did. Their Snapchats are at Jimma Banks on Snapchat and at Remedy Zen on Snapchat. I am not at PWNCAST on Snapchat. I'm on, what is it again? At Samantha is it. Spoiler alert, Belle's not my real name. And yeah, follow on the Twitters and do all those good things. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know that we talked less about non-WoW things this week than we did the week before, so I'm actually quite happy we didn't derail as much as we normally do. But sometimes I think it's nice for us to just have random banter. Jimma has looked pretty much dead the entire evening, and I feel like
I had a little typing war near the end there when you were talking about your raid. I had some stuff going on. Not that that's
I like Scandal. Let's talk about that after the show. Also, for those who listen and watch, somebody has been speaking to me about the Patreon. Somebody just gave like I don't know what the amount is, but they just did like a $10 Patreon thing on our Patreon, and I appreciate that. And we've been talking about over the last couple months about a way that we could give back. Obviously, I don't want people to feel like they have to pay to get information from us, right? You don't have to support us on Patreon, which we have one, and you can go to that and support us. Shameless plug if you choose to. It pays for the site, it pays for the hosting platform, and it pays for that kind of stuff. But we've been thinking about possibly maybe recording the pre-show and maybe giving access to those that are patrons on Patreon, whether it's $1 or whatever. We just
I got your $1.
I'll give them a special link to the pre-show. I want to know what you guys think about that. I'm really leery about doing that, and that's why I don't ever talk about the Patreon. I don't ever do that because you guys know how I feel about that. I don't feel like people should have to pay any kind of money or anything for information that we provide for free, and I don't ever want it to feel that way. But it does, the Patreon is nice because it does help lessen the cost that I have to pay out for the show and that kind of thing. Let me know what you guys are thinking about that. If you guys think that that's something you would be into, like I said, even if it's $1 a month, whoever supports us, we would just record the pre-show, which honestly, guys, the pre-show is kind of, sometimes the pre-show is off the wall shit, like out of control. Sometimes the shit that gets said in pre-show, and it would be a private link that you guys would get because some of the stuff for pre-shows,
yeah,
not for. It's not for the YouTube, so it would not be posted on YouTube. Anyway,
I'm not signing off on this,
right? But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. If you listen on iTunes and you want to be able to have like the audio version of that, whatever the case may be, email me if you listen on iTunes and let me know if that's something that if I should even waste my time, even bother doing any of that, and comment and let me know if that's something that you're interested in. Somebody's been bugging me about it, and they've been talking to me about it every single week, and they're like, I don't understand why you don't talk about this on your show. And I'm like, I barely tweet the show. It's really difficult for me to, throw us out there, and I don't know why I'm that way. Anyway, guys, we're going to get on out of here. I'm tired. They're tired. Jimma looks like he's ready to take a nap.
I'm good.
You're good? Oh, see, he's good. Thanks for the video, Jimma. That was amazing to have those visuals. I hope you guys enjoyed having the visuals. We'll have to help him fix his video
Very
recording.
much.
Technology, guys, it's tough.
For
He's
real.
like him and my husband are the exact same.
Do you have the show notes bookmarked?
I do.
He did. He
in
was
a special
in.
place.
He was in them last week, and he was like, "Where's the show stuff? You have nothing in here." And I was like, "Ooh, wow, interesting that he noticed." So this morning, I made sure I copy pasted my stuff from the one over to that. I thought it was kind of funny. Guys, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you give it a like. If you're new to PWNCAST, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the latest news. And yeah.
Totes my goats.
Totes my goats. Guys, we're going to get on out of here. Bye.
Bye, Peter
Piper.
Piper.
That's funny. Yeah, sorry for being distracted near the
Peter
end.
Piper picked
That
up-
forum post was literally gold. I wish you would have found it before the show. I'm gonna bookmark it actually because I want to read.
So really good, like the one where it's like, oh, that the balloon for boobs isn't realistic, and it's like, no, neither is a talking shape-shifting cow.
I mean, it's not supposed to be realistic. I think the purpose of the game is fantasy anyway. But that is just solid gold right there. That's some of the stuff that I always want to try to find, and I just never do.
Well, if you